People have been telling me that I should review less expensive stuff, and I totally get it. Everything is expensive nowadays. And when you review an optic that's 2 or 3 grand, it appeals to a very small market. So when CVLIFE, which if you're unfamiliar with, is a brand that deals a lot with Amazon, you usually find a lot of their stuff for very inexpensive. When they reached out to me and offered me to send me stuff to review, I said yes. Because things like this, what's inside this very plain Jane cardboard box, only costs $20. And it's a mount that claims to be precision oriented. So I figured, let's take a look at it and see what it has to offer. Inside, you get the bare essentials. The optic inside of a little plastic baggie, and then some extra screws and a tool to secure both the rings and the mount. So let's take a look at this a little bit closer in, shall we? First, we're going to be taking a look at the weight, because what can you expect for a $20 mount? I should have made sure that this was in ounces. I hate having to deal with grams or pounds and ounces. Just easier if you do everything in ounces and convert over. 6.2 ounces is not that heavy. For a $20 mount is not terrible. As far as what we see on the outside, this is obviously black anodized. This top of the caps are engraved with their logo. And well, that's really it. We're gonna start at the bottom and work our way up like we normally do. We have 1, 2, 3 locking lugs, which you can see the screws used to secure the side claw are drilled and tapped through the side lugs. Not the end of the world. I have seen other mounts like this, and I will say that at least it makes use of those locking blocks a little bit easier. Using the provided tool, we're going to remove all 3 of these screws. Taking a look at the screws themselves, they're nothing to write home about. I doubt they're any high-grade alloy. They're just probably very mild steel. As a result, I would not torque these down too much. Maybe a little bit of blue Loctite or purple Loctite, or what's the other stuff that Premier Arms used to include in everything, like the red gooey stuff that's not Loctite. So this way you don't have to worry about it locking up and then breaking it as you go to try to remove it. It'll come to me before the end of the video. I would not go probably more than 35 inch-pounds on these, and that's probably all you really need for a rail anyway. As far as the claw, machining on this looks fine. You can see we have a couple of little thread marks from the screws on the inside. No real bad burrs though. Outside on this looks like it's finished well enough. Nothing to write home about. The anodizing is pretty rough. You can see it's cutting my fingernail pretty easily, but cleanup is good enough. You could still see that there's marks on there. If you were to run this in the field, throw it in dirt, hit a block of wood with it, something like that, it will show marks, but I actually kind of don't mind that because it just shows a lot of character in your components, means that you're actually using them. As for the mount itself, we have the 3 locking lugs on the bottom, and you can see just how fine the area on the block is where the threads are. This is a weak point, not only for shearing, but also potential failure if you were to screw the side screws in a little bit too tight. I'm not the biggest fan of it because of that exact reason. All they would have had to have done is leave these solid and put 2 screw holes up here, and you'd have a lot more meat on both the locking lugs and the threads themselves, and you shouldn't have to worry about any sort of failures that way. Like this, I would be slightly concerned with these failing, but there are other mounts that have this exact same setup. To give you all a point of reference, this is the Aero Ultralight mount that I reviewed about 4 years ago, and as you could see, they too did the exact same style of setup as CVLIFE. In fact, if I had to reckon, I'd say CVLIFE copied what Aero did, but I'm sure Aero is running a slightly higher grade aluminum and higher grade steel for the screws, so take that for what it's worth, especially in the ultralight category. At just over 6.2 ounces, I'm not going to put this in the ultralight category, but it's definitely not in the super heavy category. It's a pretty good weight, all things considered, especially for the price. They did mill out a couple of pockets on the sides to lighten it up a little bit. I'm sure it saved them a couple of tenths of an ounce overall. And you know, it's nice to see a little bit of attention to detail for that. This could have just been a solid block of aluminum, but instead they opted to mill these pockets out to lighten up just a little bit. As far as the rest of the mount, there's not much else I could really say negatively on the fit or the finish. Everything looks pretty good. You can see some machining marks over here, but on top, There's no burr, there's no lip, meaning that when I come in here with a caliper, veneer, or a scale to index the scope to level it, it shouldn't cause any issues. Again, these large cuts on the side, these tapered chamfer marks, are to lighten the mount. If they were full width, it would be a little bit heavier, but I would also prefer it being full width. Again, for my preferred method of leveling optics, you just come in here, twist it, and you're good to go. As far as the rest of the externals, or I should say the faces that will be interfering with your rail, there are no real marks on the bottom. It's actually very nicely finished. I don't see any potential room for issues. But let's throw this on top of a pick rail and see what kind of play we would get. For this, I'm going to leave the side rail off, so we just put the mount on there. And there isn't as much wiggle as I've seen on a lot of other mounts. You can see right there on the side what I'm talking about. If they made it a little bit thicker to potentially strengthen this weak spot on the corner, it might not fit into the rail. So overall, I'm not disappointed on the fitment on the rail. It's actually pretty decent. As far as the rest of it, it looks good, but now let's pop off one of these caps to see what it looks like on the inside. On the bottom side of the cap, we actually have a pretty nice looking finish. I don't see any real aggressive tool marks or any corners that are not properly chamfered and cleaned up that I'd have to worry about. To be brutally honest, this actually surprises me for the price. It looks pretty good. As far as the top, it looks a little bit rough, but this surface is non-critical, so I really don't care. Again, for the price, as long as this thing holds a tube on a scope and doesn't destroy it or come loose or break itself, I'm fine with it. Especially if you're going to be throwing this on a plinker, a 22, an airsoft setup. You know, what does it really matter for 20 bucks? As long as it does its job. Now, speaking of, let's pull out my trusty and, quite frankly, dusty SWFA Fix 16X and see how this indexes on the tube. You can see there's a lot of play there. That's the biggest problem for me, is the tolerance. This tolerance is very loose, which means as this thing gets torqued down, it'll probably collapse a little bit, and I would worry about pinching on the top. That's my biggest gripe with something like this, is potential damage to the tube. Now, if you're putting this on a $100 or $200 optic, who really cares all that much? Again, as long as it doesn't break itself. But you're putting this on a several $100 to $1,000 optic, I would look at potentially something a little bit more precise to make sure that your investment, aka your optic, doesn't get destroyed. As far as the fit and finish on the mount itself, again, there's nothing that I'm going to complain about. It looks really good. Threads are full, well, no, they're not full length. We do have a through hole, but they're not threaded all the way out, which is a bit of a bummer. But you know, if you were to shear one of these screws off, you're going to try to attack it from the bottom anyway, so this way you don't push the damaged section down through it and destroy your threads. Either which way, if you break a couple of screws off in this for whatever reason, replace the mount. I'd probably just go that route as opposed to potentially stripping out one of these threaded holes and then having replace the mount anyway. What I'm going to do now is remove the other cap, get this mounted on my rail, and see how effectively a scope can be mounted inside. The mount is secured to the rail, and it's time to throw the optic in. For many of you, you're going to say, but it's backwards. You would say that, but this is how I need to actually mount these optics, with the threads or the screws being on this side to be away from the wall where I have my tracking set up. Just as I feared, let me zoom in for this. This is going to shake my camera mount a little bit, but you can probably very clearly tell that there is a ton of play in this mount. Does not fill me full of confidence or joy, but again, this is a $20 mount, and we have to keep that in mind. I'm not going to say mount your tangent theta in this, because if you have tangent theta money, you have spur money or better. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Going to put these screws in here just finger tight. It does lock up quite well, but I reckon that if we were to have feeler gauges that could fit in there, we would have a gap on the side, which again, I wouldn't be surprised about. And that's the biggest worry I have for this thing so far. So I'm going to get everything torqued up, I'm going to do 15 inch-pounds on the rings, and I'm going to do probably 30 to 35 on the cross bolts, and see how well this thing returns to zero, if at all. And we'll come back here at the end to talk about it. Down here with the CVLIFE mount, I got everything torqued up with my SWFA Fix 16X. You can see our center crosshair looks really good, and that's what we're going to focus on. I currently have the rail torqued to 30 inch-pounds twice, starting with the middle screw, the front screw, then the rear screw, and then repeating the process. So what I'm going to do now is loosen it, show that the mount is loose on the rail, then we're going to wiggle it, and we're going to re-torque this sequence in the exact same procedure. So loose, push forward on the mount, snug up the middle, snug up the front, snug up the rear, torque the middle, torque the front, torque the rear, and check it out. That actually looks like it reset perfectly. I'm going to do this 2 more times and see how she fares. Attempt 2 shows the exact same results. Looks great. Let's do it again. Three for 3. That shows to be resetting very well. I'm going to call this a success. Color me impressed. Well, folks, there ain't a whole lot left to say. For the $20 or so that this mount costs on Amazon, it returns to zero just fine. It seems to be machined just fine. There is no damage to the scope that I had in it, and everything seems to just work. The only thing I'd be really concerned about is the hardware shearing off if you over torque it, or the locking lugs failing if you tighten them down too hard, or if it gets shocked too hard. Would I trust this on a higher end build? Probably not. But on something like an airsoft rifle, on a 22, on an absolute low budget 5.56 or some other carbine, if you're not 100% set on a particular height on your mount or a particular optic setup, and you want to spend as little as possible to test it out and see if the theory works, this is a pretty good option for the $20. And after you're done with it, you have a mount that you could use for other such projects, or just give it away to a friend. Would I buy one of these for any of my particular personal builds? No, only because I don't really have a need for something this inexpensive. But if I was building a trainer airsoft rifle or 22, this would find itself quite at home on any of those builds. No, this will not replace your spur mount, but it's not designed to do so. It's designed to be as inexpensive as possible while still offering you a scope mount that's halfway decent. Anyway, CVLIFE, thank you very much for sending this in for review. People might say I'm shilling for you because I am kind of sort of recommending a $20 mount, but the fact still remains, it returned to zero without flaws, and it had no issues clamping up on my scope tube. Would I throw a $1,000 scope in this? Absolutely not. But $100, $200? Zero qualms whatsoever. Thank you all very much for watching. As always, I'll see you again next time. And a huge thank you to my Patreon providers and my Subscribe subscribers. Without you, this truly wouldn't be possible. If you'd like to support my channel but don't want to join either of those, I completely understand. But you could still help by using my affiliate links in the description below, and or like, share, and subscribe as always. Again, thank you very much.